Hello. So, 11 hours worth of footage. So hii video by the haikuwa hivi ilikuwa a bit low and sad, but nimetoka very nice, wonderful, wholesome meeting with some friends and our team. So like I'm happy, but I was to do this before when I was sad. I was sad and feeling very low and lost. That was the whole point of the video. But it's fine. So man, it's been a minute since I done a shoot video. This is actually the first time nimetumia my this tripod for those who've been here for long. I think I had shared that I had at least got something new to help with creation and the whole process. And since I watched it, I think I only used it once, and just for a couple of videos. But this is the first time myself, and also this is the first time I'm taking like this kind of video talking. It's been a while since I had this type of videos of me talking. This is, I think, the second time I'm doing it with my phone. The first time I did it, I was like, idhara nimeenda, I'm here, and it was a cool video, and I used the back camera, which has a better, you know, capture thing. It's like something megapixels, and right now I'm using the selfie one, and I'm at home, and I'm in my bed, and things have just been happening. I know things are weird when it comes to creating. So let me just start from there, because I don't know. And nastaki kuwa repetitive, staki kusema know what everyone will say. Oh, things are hard. Things are what real. Yes, we get it, and I also get it. We all feel it. Yeah, we all have our struggles. Don't think I'm here to say how I'm struggling or how hard it is. I think we already know that. I don't know. I just felt like I had to talk into my camera. By the honestly, is it got 2 minutes and that 5 seconds? I'm honestly not sure come out. I'll share this video, or I'll just have it in my folder, in my gallery. Go get to hapo. But here we are. So it's been challenging. I'm standing to great details in case I do share this. But the personal stuff, struggling with other personal stuff, and also creating, coming up with new ideas, and trying to implement your old ideas. Um, being creative alone, not easy. And people are like, if you find a team, it doesn't have to be always like that. If you find a team, get people together. Yes, tried that. Pia iko na its whole process and its own journey to take. But like things happen, like life, ebbs and flows. So, ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. Narudia joke. I do that very nicely. But I'm not editing this video. Itakuwa as long as it needs to be, and as awkward or as inconsistent as it needs to be. But while I was setting up this thing, I was like, oh, this is so easy. Niko kwa kitanda, go bedroom, so I don't really like need a sitting room, because nilikuwa nimeanza contemplate za kuget your co-working space. I'm like, let me just like rush the moving out process. I have my own space, but like this isn't bedroom, but I'm in my sister's bedroom, because mine, like the overhead is not that proper. There's light. Inakaa poa, niko kwa kitanda, I'm comfortable, I'm here talking, like this is easy. This just took seconds, a few minutes. I'm like, why then haven't I been doing this all that time? So yeah, I think if challenge, because a challenge, a difficulty ndo ilinileta hapa. So, and yeah, the solution already. So yeah, So at least I'm happy about that, and now this is an option and something I can use. Um, so what else? I don't know. I think I recently shared something about on my Twitter. I'm not a Twitter person, but I've said that nimesema I felt it sounding like that Twitter person. So I just shared it on my Twitter. I didn't I'm not that person. But just once in a while, I shared on my Twitter how, at least starting this year, something nimekuwa happy about me, that sort of separation, or not really being so heated and like that. Not really being so in these big arguments and these big discourse and these big discussions about all these important big things that are happening, which are important, which we need to have that discourse. I mean, that's the whole point of the core element. TKE, the company, the thing. So yeah, but I don't know. Recently, also, compounding and some other factors here and there, daily or even monthly stuff. Like yeah, so I just stopped that. Also, if you've noticed on the TK page, not much activity. Okay, on these other pages, because we've been doing other projects. Shout out Linda Data. Shout out Linda Data. Go check out. Wait, wait. Anyway, go check out what we do at Linda Data. This is the logo. Wachana na hizi vitu zingine. It's on digital rights, but anyway, you'll see what I mean. So anyway, focusing on all those other things, and also kind of the work on my mind. I know this TK, but the big thing, and everything that's happening. Yeah, not much activity there, and also in part due to that, and also other factors. Just life stuff. Not that it's something so malicious, just life stuff. But yeah, I don't know. So there was that bit of not thinking really about that sana, and not really being there, trying to weigh in or to give your take on every single thing. Though initially, when I never really took that route, as most people would say in that kind of governance space, and trying to bring those two things together with the digital space and youth. But still, yeah, still felt a bit funny, and I think I had mentioned starting towards the year I'm trying different tactics instead of kuongea hivi when you're delivering something and like talking to people, because it is exhausting, it's tiring, because you have to sit down, come up with all that share and only have two people see that, which is now the main problem, but it is part of the process, so you have to acknowledge that either way. But yeah, that was interesting. But I don't know. So I kind of just took my mind off and my energy out of that for a moment, and I think I mentioned I will take more the visual side of it, which is something that almost comes effortlessly to me, because that's also in part what K does, the digital content visual stuff. So I would use that kind of medium or my energy or my creativity in that side. Ongea English mingi. In that side to apply to TK ndio ikuwe more fun and more impactful and more tangible and more, I don't know, make more sense and make it work in also other ways. If because it's something I plan on doing that, or something similar to that, like for the rest of my life. I'm not planning on being employed per se, like the 9 to 5 kuamka kwenda job nini, not really. I'm established in my soon to be 25 years, well, at least since after campus or after high school. I've kind of kidogo created, or had an opportunity to join different paths and take a different path in personal life and also work life. Though it's still early, I mean, I'm still figuring this out. Don't get me wrong, I think now I figured it out. No, far from it, but I've had some good highlights and good moments that point towards that, and like, articulate that, and So I see that. But yeah, so I don't know. So there was that. I just kept off of all of that. But then, and also I haven't been watching the news so much. Okay, here comes the whole talk, yeah, politics, and but I don't like the word like politics and. But I haven't been watching the news so much this entire time. I think this entire year so far to March. So yeah, I haven't been like into that space and in the whole discourse and not really. And so recent, and I appreciated it, and it was something good and something that I think we all need. Because I mean, after a long time, and you believe in, you'll do one, two, three, as everyone does, one, two, three things to find solutions or to at least set a path or start a conversation. But no, conversations have never really been my thing. But actually, if you're told to start conversations, but you need to lead towards a form of solution or a step forward or just movement, momentum, not just kuongea, ramble on about and talking more about the action bit of it is trying, that's why the whole TKE thing was born, and I'm still at it because it's action being taken. It's not just talking, it's action happening in the moment. So yeah, I had stopped like being in that kwa hivyo disco sana, but then recently I was like, no, kind of getting back into it and also contemplating on things and seeing how the country is. And I don't know, like, you can't assume now all of these things because things are happening. Okay, you've tried your part, started this small thing, still early, so same at you've been at it for 10 years now. I can't I'm not giving up, no. But you've done things, you've put energy into your work or trying to articulate various social issues in your own way, in your own talents, in your own efforts. And you know maybe it doesn't happen or doesn't reflect, or the monster or the thing or the vice you're trying to fight is it's big, and it's inapata more strength every single day. So it's always bigger, and it always comes back stronger and more vicious. So inakuwa like a zero. Is this the right word to use? A zero sum game where like there's no win or anything. All that effort itakuja iplummet tena. Yeah. So that was the thing, because then now the country, because me, I stopped not caring. I cared, but I stopped being not obsessed. I was never obsessed about it, but I really stopped like having to put like a good chunk of my energy in that, because became too much. And now I'm back and I'm like, it's still a lot. But then you can't keep quiet, because you can never keep quiet, honestly. You can never stop. You can never give up. Even as much as I need to take a step back, subconsciously or consciously or not, I don't know, but you can never give up. Like, hata kama I would share this, like I'm sharing to the public, if I will share this video, but it will still be at the back of your mind. It has still need haunt and haunt every single day. So you never stop. And especially as young people, well, it's something else. It's something else. And this is funny. I'm feeling all of this because normally me, I'm very optimistic and and very optimistic and trying to find some type of like smart solution or movement, and big or small, mostly small, because unachukua vitu step by step, bit by bit, maintain your sanity. But I don't know, I've been now, if you follow all that up with the recent events and how everything became too much. Now I feel like I'm even talking like a pessimistic person. But anyway, things and or like videos of how I used to hear people talking about the country, things are bad, things, hey, ni kubaya, wow, like, hey, it's so bad, the world, it's chaos. I was like, not really. I mean, we can do something about it. Let's create, which is a good solution. But feeling that weight. Also due to in part again experience and years and also other things. Just life things. I kept saying that. But yeah, but just life things. Yeah, so I feel like wow, it's heavy. And I remember when we were after, like let's again go back to the world general Kenyan view. And yeah, when prices ilikuwa zina rise nini, I'm fortunate I am somewhere where maybe some of those things I can't worry about them specifically. But for the first time ever in my life, I can say this confidently, for the first time ever in my life, hizo taxes and life was just increased, like vitu tu zilikuwa zinapanda and everything was getting bad. For the first time in my life, I was thinking, how wait, and this is coming from someone who was like, I'll also create content on taxes not being like kitu nahusiwa, but being like a service. For the first time in my life, when I finished viewing and like seeing all everything that was happening, for the first time in life, I was today like thinking, how do I evade paying taxes? Nilikuwa nimekaa hapana. So how can I avoid like paying these taxes? Hata nafikiria about the supermarket. And normally, because in my small life, I kind of do that, but not the taxes bit, but like small stuff, like I learned to make my own hair. In the salon, because I'm always changing my hair and trying new things. So I nilibuy to blow dry yangu kwa home because so I have it and it's cheaper that way. To dye my own hair, I know to dye my own hair. I dye my own hair. I don't need to go to the salon. To make food, we learned how to make pizza. Hizo food unasikia ukiwa unatamani kwenda kukula nje. So we learned how to make pizza at home and to bake stuff at home, because then finally we got a good like an oven the first time. So we learned to do all those things. So you don't have to go outside and do them, but also it's fun because you're learning. So for the first time, I was like, how do I make a homemade solution on how to stop? I know evade taxes sounds like a fraudulent thing, but how to not spend so much so that you don't get taxed so much. I was actually nimekati nafikiria, how do I do that? Because things had gotten to that level, and I mean, if you think about it, and how like life has been, and I mean, these are things people always talk about. That when you were younger, you'll hear people complaining about stuff, and even when you are older, like me, like 2 or 3 years back, I will hear people complaining the same stuff. And now I'm here. Am I complaining of the same stuff? But I've just voiced them, and I'm only getting older. Amen, inshallah. I get to a good age. But yeah, like things as you go to, then it becomes heavy, and then I'm like, let me just stop because it's not making sense. Like, and you're trying your bit, but it's never going to be enough because the monster you're trying to fight is bigger than you. Will always be bigger, and all that. Anyway, but you can't keep quiet. Sometimes you have to always talk, always say. Because sahizi, again, as I mentioned, sijakuwa nikiwatch news, so maybe kuna vitu zingine by the way zimenipita kabisa, for good reason, because itakuwa so overwhelming. But recently watched the news, and I don't know what the whole thing with them. I won't even call them leaders, these political figures and authoritarian figures, that because they're not leaders, those are not leaders, trying to just make the situation even worse. And I'm not talking about the opposition, the ruling camp. Everyone, water. Every single, just the whole collective, and maybe even us in part, but no, mostly them. Because of course, I don't know. It's just, it looks bad from the snippet, because I have been there, because I remember being completely there and seeing the whole curve going like that. Now I just saw the snippet, and you see the direction this is taking, and okay, let's not do that. Let's not go down that path. It's already hard for young people. I have friends and people, also look at the same, and we are still the same. But though, we all have our different struggles, and just something simple like hivyo could just cause some type of chaos or anarchy, or I don't know, akuko settled, it makes it even worse. Saizi we're even peaceful and things are relatively good, like on the peaceful side. So the economy it's another story. And now we are thinking of making it even worse for ourselves. Like, no. It's funny, because it even becomes harder for younger people, becomes harder for older people, it becomes hard for children, for middle-aged people. Inakuwa ngumu tu kwa kila mtu, for everyone, even for the unborn ones. And honestly, even for the dead people and the ancestors, it becomes even harder for them. Because why mbona tunataka why do you want to ruin or to make things even worse? You're already, like, the state of everything is still, we are still working our way through things as the world, yes, and also as Kenya, and also as individuals and even family units. And now you want to make it worse. You want to make it worse for everyone. It's going to be bad. Things are already bad. It's going to be bad. And don't like saying that, because you're bringing it into life. So I'm not going to say that, but don't do that. Like, there's so much of, sometimes by the one kind of fikiria. Sometimes how hata kitambo, when you read in history and all that, those sporadic moments when things had to change. And I feel, come on, sisi in Kenya, in Africa, but let me just talk about Kenya because in Kenya, I feel like we are kind of climbing to that point, because every time something happens and something kitu inakuja in account, I feel like this may be the moment when we click that, that quote unquote revolution. I don't want to use the wrong term, but semi revolution type of energy. Type of energy. But we've not yet, I think, but as much as things are like shit and bad, but ni kama bado tujafika at your tipping point, and watu watakuwa like, no, this cannot keep going. I feel like you're slowly climbing to that, which is a good thing, because mi nataka tufike hapo, alafu tuteremke ndo tuendelee, like, things then flow, because I feel like tuko tu tension, and I want us to get to that point, tip, and things cool and go back to normal, and whatever, because we need to get there. That as an individual, when things have been tough, nini unafika your breaking point, then you find calm or solace, or you find a solution, or maybe you go crazy, but you always, there's a world after that, and we need to get to that side. So we need to pass through this thing, and I want us to pass through this whole process very quickly, or I don't know, no, to come to the greener side of things, because where we are, let's move. And causing chaos and whatever, like that does not, that's you in a change the tangent to this other direction, which is which we don't want to be going there. We want to go like this, and you're taking us like this. So, like, let's not, as just as people. And yeah, when I think about that turning point, and I honestly don't feel like that will be caused by a person in power. No, not be caused by any politician you have right now. Hata wenye tuliwa elect, and the change, the one who will bring the change. Honestly, I feel like it won't come from them. It won't come from politicians, because those are not leaders. It will, leaders different, but it will not come from those. It will not come from that system and that institution. It will come from somewhere else, from the people. And it's not the people at youth group mmeletwa pamoja, ama ni youth structure, ama youth council, ama youth, also not that, because that's like quote unquote state machinery. It will come from people, and maybe even persons, or maybe an individual, or maybe an event or something that happens or an activity or a certain enlightenment of things, because we need to tip over, because for all our sakes we need to get through that. And I know it's not coming from those, because for the longest time we've been thinking it'll come from the authority, the politicians. It will not. It won't. Other people, as sincere, it will come from there. And I hope, and it doesn't even have to be this big thing ikue kwa news, sijui iandikwe in articles everywhere. Honestly, I don't think so. It'll be something that will happen, maybe to someone or for someone or through someone, hata tu kwa nyumba yake tu, or kama ama kwa shule, and it just seeps like that to the community, and it goes to everyone, from the from the grassroots, from like the realistic point of view, CC, or individuals, like an epiphany of thoughts like this, and continue to impact everyone, like it seep to through around, then it builds up and hopefully becomes that change, because it's not coming from the top. It's going to come from us. And yeah, I want that to happen. I want to be part of such a thing, and to make that happen. And that's where the real work is, because it's individual, it's community, it's individual, it's people. You're thinking about individuals or a small group of individuals, then how in under to different communities and to different groups who all have different needs, so it will look very different for everyone. It's not this big thing on a billboard. But I totally believe it will come from somewhere, from a classroom, ama ni from a nursery, ama ni from an office basi, ama ni from a hustle, ama ni from stand ya vegetables, stand ya matunda, stand ya smoky, ama mtu anauza mabuyu kwa class, or content creator somewhere, or a writer somewhere, or someone who is at home kwa bed, feeling sad and depressed and alone somewhere. It will come from somewhere. But let it come, and let's hope for it, and let's think about it, because it's not coming from them, because they're causing a lot of chaos. And also, hopefully, when we think about all that, the solutions coming from us, or the enlightenment coming from us, we're also able to like have a sense to realize that we don't have to be right every time. We don't have to have all the answers every time. Like, that is the thing, because these other group that they're telling you and promising you, because I mean that's part of the headache right now. They promised you and told you blah blah blah. After 1 to 5 6 days, 1 to blah blah blah, this will happen, this will happen. And that's not true. Like, even like I remember your time my elections, I was like, and I knew even other people like, whoever wins, by the way, of all of this lot of people here, whoever wins, things will not get good, maybe until like 2 or 3 years have passed. Like, that is a given. Hata kama promise nini nini, things will not get good, at least after 2 years, at least with given 2 years, 3 years, of course. And now you're trying to add more chaos. Your period inakuwa extended to like 7 years. Then now you wait 7 years, and maybe we'll have waited for like 2 or 3 years, despite whoever would have won. Like, honestly, ama hata kama hata kungekuwa na mtu amewin, tungeendelea tuna whoever was there before. Things will not have gotten better. We will have given it like 2 3 years to start seeing evil. Like, now you can relax. No, and now you're causing even more turmoil. Like, bringing that to like 9 7 years, to feel some sort of relaxation for everyone, not just for not just a group of people, like for everyone. So let's think about individuals and communities and groups, and not these big leaders seated somewhere. That's another thing. how does that come about? How does that look like? I've mentioned it to movie the different scenarios of how it will look like, and because it will not look like that coming from the top. I know. Na pia with what is happening ama period yenye tuko saizi, ah I feel like the traditional approach ama the traditional way of doing things, it's not doing the thing. It's not the Gen Z. It's not the vibe. It's not. It's like tunaenda tu in circles. The same people, same problems, same challenges, same ideas, same solution, and but still nothing is working. Nika tuko hapa, while you should be like going up, but it's not happening. And when I think about the traditional ways, even of making change, going back to your conversation at TKE and how to, when you think about change and impact, how do you do it? How do you change? How do you adapt? How do you make it more, I don't know, tangible and more like you can see the results, and you don't have to see the results immediately, but you can at least measure something. You can like measure it. And measurement, I don't necessarily, I don't mean like percentages and we got 1,000 people to do ABCD. It can even be on a spiritual level, it can be on a mental level, or on a physical level. Like that's the realm I'm talking about. So when I look at traditional ways of approaching change or approaching things, so like I have to be there, whether as I talking as a young person, because this pressure sometimes gets to you, because you want the change, you want this, you're a young person, like the power should belong to you. I mean, you do have the power, but you don't have the power. You don't actually have the people in power. There's, that whole dynamic that's going on, and you feel like, okay, then let me learn the rules, so I can break them, and that is good. Learning the rules so you can break them, or so you can, like, change and find a new way to do things. That's good, but now getting to the system, at so you can change the system from inside. I don't. That gets a little bit tricky, because you start off like that, the things don't actually go that way. Because I've seen it, joining different programs here and there, and the promise of what it can be. Then you quickly realize what it actually is, just a sponsored um WhatsApp group, or a sponsored, I don't know, Google Classroom experience, and nothing tangible, and it's just for people to just write reports and to get more funding for for your WhatsApp things. And this is how you are making change. Not to say and get about WhatsApp things. WhatsApp has helped a lot in mobilization for change. So same with I'm talking about a specific type of scenario, not a general one. As most young people may try to join these youth groups and leaders and blah 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 things are familiar with. So trying to model after the traditional way of leading and looking and reasoning and viewing things, just copy pasting, this leader, so you also, and it's clearly not working, even them or those people you're trying to. I mean, it's been 50 years, Kenya wise. I mean, look at the world, look history wise. I'm a history person, so history wise, I mean, it tells you that is not going to work. And kwanza kwenye tuko, it's a very, these are new times. New times, yes, I know the more things change, the more things remain the same. But there are a few differences, and from the history yenye tunajua. So meaning there's more opportunity to do things differently and to find new solutions, even better than even you kitambo ilikuwa kusema new solutions. This is even like extraordinarily better, and pick on a caveat yake. But if you sit there and thinking of how you will be exactly like this supposed politicians or leaders who you think that is where the change will come from, and start talking like them, you start using the words they use, you start even looking like them, you start moving like them, you start maybe I'm not coming for someone you may have to feel personal, but I think that will not work. Itakuwa to the same cycle, and it's exhausting, even for me as someone who is may be in one of four or three of those circles, even for me, it is exhausting. And because sometimes I'm even looking at it as a young person, I'm like, no. And even and now when I actually have the lens being part of maybe a group like that, I'm thinking of like, so you want me to compete over as let me wait and I should Google this zero sum games. You come even that's the right expression. So you want me to compete over this, you want me to compete with these people over something that's obviously not going to work, over something that has been proven through history, throughout time, throughout technology, throughout, I mean, just basic social interaction, that this will not work. And that is what you want me to put all my sweat, effort, energy in, and it's not going to work. Like, why don't we try this other route? Get what I mean? So that's something I'm speaking specifically because on this, because I have been in such situations, and maybe even are currently, or like nimekuwa and I am in, those different waves. I talk about leadership and young people specifically, because there's this idea where you need to look, model, sound, act like what we have at the moment, and what we have at the moment we have proven is not working. Because as I have said before, in case you missed the whole other half of this, change will not change. Like the actual, okay, so force, influence, money might come from politicians and the cartels. I don't want to use that word, but those kind of groupings. But the change, that revolution you're looking for, or we want to tip over, not coming from them. It's coming from us, from Sissy, the young, I don't know, the old, the infants, the babies, I don't know, the ancestors, the dead, I don't care, but it's not coming from that institution, it's coming from this side. And I mentioned before how it can look like all sort of things. Rewind, you'll see it can look like someone on the bed, someone who's depressed, someone who is not feeling well, it can look like someone who's actually very well, it can look like a child, shule, it can look like an environmentalist mahali, it can look like someone hustling, it can look like someone struggling after kumaliza campus, it can look like a form 4 dropout, it can look like a class 8 dropout, it can look like a teacher, it can look like a nurse, it can look like an unemployed person in the street, it can look like a street child, it can look like anything, honestly. It can even just be it can be an event, like an event in when I say event, I don't mean like a function, but it can be just like, I don't know, just a sort of enlightenment happens. So, but bro, I'm telling you, it's not coming from these ones. So if you try to model after that, you're going nowhere, you're going around in circles, and you will feel it. You will feel it. You will feel it. That whole feeling of it not working even for them, because you have been inside those systems and you know it does. It's just a whole other different thing from the day-to-day working. So I don't know. I think we should approach that different. And I think when we start approaching the whole citizenship, community, society, family, humanity, social aspect of life, individually, in a community, in groups, with your family, with strangers. I love that, with strangers, wherever. If you approach things like that, it also morphs into the type of leadership that you will call it, the leadership that you want, and that then turns into the, because you have self leadership, how you lead yourself, so it morphs into the leadership, into the different now stages of leadership and positions of leadership and levels and intensity of leadership, in all these different sectors, politically, economically, socially, spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever. It morphs into that, and that's how solutions then I'll also like come about. Okay, so and in that whole pot, your pot in a mix hizo vitu zote, I think that's where we will tush you. And this is a good thing, by the way, for those who missed the part, but feel like in this steady climb of tension and blah, 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 and we need that revolution point where now things come back to normal. So that will really lead us there. That, let me call it an enlightenment of sorts, or a, I don't know how to call it yet, but that. So we go to the other side, and actually go to the other side because it's tiring. It's tiring. It's honestly exhausting. And I don't know, maybe I'm saying this because Nico at this point, and no, but even when you're happy, it's I'm remembered in that saying of, when you manage your environment, your thoughts and everything, your feelings even. Don't get too excited, and also don't get too sad, don't get too angry, don't get too anxious or something, but the extremities of even happy things. So yeah, so I'm happy that I am happy that I'm talking about this when I'm not so happy, when I'm at my kind of sad state. Yeah, it will still say the same thing, because then okay, then I'll be happy. Then ebbs and flows, as I said, my friend. So I'll be happy and say here good things, and then I'll become sad, but the story it remain the same. Okay, so yeah, I think we should think about that and how to see. I know I have there's that division, but we should actually look at it like that, especially the KE perspective, because the scales are not balanced. I don't know. We feel like all the solutions will come from these guys. We feel like all the money will come from these guys. We feel like all the happiness we need will come from these guys. And it's the opposite. So the tables need to be turned. That's why that division has to be there. I'm sorry. But yeah. And I know it's funny because even when I say them, they are part of us. See, they are fathers. See, they are fathers. See, they are members of the community. See, they are people in a group. They are part of your WhatsApp group. See, they are part of your friend group. They are part of your chama. See, they are elders in your church. So I mean, they are part of us. But in this context, here they are an institution, and they represent an like Wamemov. They are this institution here, and there are small cogs in all of that. They form this institution here, and that is perspective to Nangalia, and it does make a difference, because that is how we also categorize. That's how young people are put into a block: the youth block, the elderly block, the educated block, the uneducated block, the what is this other thing? Men, women block, children block, those who voted for this block, those who voted for Nani block, this constitute, you know. So we are put into those blocks, and I mean, theater people in these blocks are also part of your family and your friends and your friend group and whatnot. So, but I'm talking about these kind of institutions, because that's how society, or that's how humanity, we view things, because you can't know everyone. I can't know everyone in the government by name and their hobbies and what they like, but I know they are the government. So that is what they are. So that's what I mean. And it does have a part in structures and civilization, as we call it. Also a lot to unpack there, and the role of government. But yeah, so I feel like there should be that change to how we approach change, because you cannot copy paste a traditional thing, the traditional way. And I know I say traditional, people are like, what do you mean traditional? As I've said, I have quoted that quote: the more things change, the more remain the same, blah blah blah. And traditional, what do you actually mean traditional? What digital is actually traditional, still good. I don't know, I guess I know someone, but you get what I mean. The whole, and I'm not against suits, but that whole look of how you should be and what to do, as it makes sense. So don't be that, as a young person, as an old person. You know what? I've realized maybe that's something I should change. Let me not only say as a young person, or okay, not as a young person, but let me not always say young people and young as people, as Kenyans, as citizens, as citizens, as citizens, young, old, dead, alive, and I mean like ancestors and unborn, as citizens, don't copy this traditional government tradition. Don't copy this old way of doing stuff. And old, I don't mean like old or the old people, but this tried, tested, failing, will not work, limbo approach to leadership and to change. Won't even work. Let's embrace thinking differently. And it's hard. So, some of these structures are embedded in every single part, in every single aspect of life, from determining your where you'll be born, determining how you will be born, determining who will give birth to you, like who you know, determining how you'll go to school, where you'll go to school, and when you'll go to school. Because now we have a new curriculum, and when you'll go to school, determining how you'll get your work, what you'll have to do, what you have to learn, the courses you learn, the units you learn. Like some of these things, they got so embedded into those very tiny bits, nitty gritty bits of our life, of our everyday life, even in determining where I'll buy this net. Like I know this net Sango alibuy. Isli mbona hakubai kwa hii duka iko hapa. Like yeah, even determine even stuff like that. How you buy this net, how all of that. So some of these choices, some of these big themes, because so you feel, you see, and you feel, and you see those parts of it, even in the small things, but they can be overcome, and you feel like it can be overwhelming, but they can be overcome. And nimekwambia haitakuwa this big chunk thing that these people on this authority politicians will give us. It will come from us, and true to its name, it will come from us too, like those small bits, from the individual to the community to the family unit to the society to that grouping you have. Like it will come, that change will come from that, it will build from that and go in here. And as I'm saying this, let's go back to the whole thing of the imposter thing, and trying to make change. As I'm saying this, like I got that voice of people who always poke holes in any resolution you have. They'll always do it consciously or unconsciously. Hata maybe sisi vitu nimesema, I have ni kama attack some people, groups of people, like personally, and like like maybe the people who have felt have demeaned something, so that will always happen, whether it was meant to, whether they did it intentionally or not. There'll always be a counter, there'll always be loopholes in everything you say, there'll always be mistakes, and those are good things. I mean, that's nimejihag hivi nikakumbuka International Women's Day. I was wondering mbona watu wako hivi, why people hugging themselves, then I saw like the theme of that time. But yeah, we realize those are the things that make you good, right? Because if you try to be perfect, if you then try to be perfect and think about it so much, you won't say anything. Like Sazy, I know this is not the most perfect video. It's going on to 1 hour, tunaenda like 50 minutes, and which is good, that's why I decided to do this, and I will not edit this. The Koi cut, Zack Snyder cut, the Koi cut. I'm not going to edit this. I'm just going to post it. If I do decide to, I'll just post it like iko. But yeah, I think if you decide if you think about it too much and decide to have a sanitized way of thinking, and kama ningekaa chini niseme I want to talk to video, and I do all this research and I do all this composure, and I look perfect, and like I have the thumbnail for it, and I do the marketing for it, and I get this expert blah blah blah. No, tungeshinda hapo mpaka 2063. Hiyo agenda ingekuwa inatuangalia in the uso, bado tuko hapa talking about the prep of the video. So but I feel like when you give your opinion, when you give your take, when you speak your mind, and you don't have to do it on camera, by the way, you can do this in your journal, you can do this in your head entirely. Hizi thoughts ziko tu kwa akili yako. You don't even have to say them out loud. Or when you like think through this, when you talk through this, because when you say out loud, or when you write it down, or when you do a specific action towards it, it then starts like making sense, and you start inaanza kuwa clearer. And as I've said, there'll always be counter opinions. There'll always be like, hey, that's what I think. You know, when you see this, that's why I know about these interviews most of the time. These interviews on TV, hata hizi zenye wanaamkia asubuhi 6 kwenda kuongea kwa panel, or even at night and whatnot. I'm not saying all, some are actually very good, but you'll hear, I don't know, because sometimes I'm in my bed and you can hear the TV because it's on. Huyu anasema hivi, unasema no, but you know, no. And you say no, but you know, but they're entirely talking about the same thing. They might even have the same title. Yes, we're all human beings and they have different experiences. But they might have the same title and same experts or same study in the same field, because usually it's experts, funny enough, not actual people. There are people, but not like the normal ordinary people in those panels, which is another thing. But you'll find them, so you even wonder, actually no, you know, it's like this. Okay, actually no, it's like this. Actually no, it's not, it's like this. Actually, you know, it's like this. In the whole interview, the whole conversation itakuwa countering what the other person said, not actually a good ABCD or a 3-structure conversation where you have, you know, the whatever contention you have, then the discourse, then the resolution. Like, it's never like that. It's when I say maybe so I have to counter that, then you want to somehow, then you counter the counter, then you counter the counter, then you counter, then you counter the counter. Like, so you see, that's the thing. There'll always be a different opinion, there'll always be different things. And I was saying that because as I was even saying all of these things, there's that person or people in my head, I will share something that really means something to me. Maybe not even necessarily have to know it means so much to me. Maybe like, no, is that true? Is that proven? And so you kind of feel like you have to retreat and stay with your things, and you know, that imposter vibe and imposter syndrome. For those, see imposters into many attack, but like you start rethinking and, you know, second guessing yourself. Second guessing is the right word. You like start second guessing yourself and like, oh, maybe I'm not even, let me not stop. Because I mean, we've all been villains of other people's stories. That I know. I have been a villain of people's stories. I know people who are villains in my story. So that happens sometimes with intention. I have also done some things intentionally that maybe are not good. So, and sometimes unintentionally. But I apologize for all of those things. Either way. But you find that hizo challenges ziko. People will talk, people will say, no, that's not true, that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how you approach this thing. That's not how you solve this. That's not how you talk. That's not how you address, you know. Nimekumbuka saizi a certain villain where I had something prepared and they were like, you know, maybe make it more comprehensive so that na. And I'm like, no, the whole point of this thing is for it to be easy for any regular person, because you don't have to exclude people. You don't have to be tedious hapa. Hatutaki kuanza kusound like some complicated, complex people and not actually doing anything. I'm like, no, you see the point of this. The point of this was to make it simple for anyone, because we want to bring people together. So it has to feel like that. So why are you trying to exclude people? Because that's also another quote I saw these days, or normally, but I think I mean, when you say these days, because maybe it got heightened, but I mean, these things have been happening since hata before sisi tuzaliwe. Even most of the time, we introduce or we want to mark our place in the world, starting with how we are different from other people, how I am better, or how I am more qualified, or how I am more, or how I am smarter than you, or how I am prettier than you, or how I am older than you, or how I'm younger than you, or how I am more open, more creative than you, or how I am more successful than you. Like, we always, there's that thing where we introduce ourselves with that intention of, and we kind of really put a boundary or a barrier between us and the people that we kind of want to reach. So anyway, that was a rant. Kama utasikia the person ni sawa, I honestly don't mind. Like, clearly have a lot to worry about in the world, in Kenya. But yeah, so that was the thing. Changing the views, having the change, the revolution, Vida, coming from us changing and it morphing and adapting into new ways, because that's where the solutions are. They're not where we are at the moment. And where we are, I know we are all at different stages. So maybe you person who's watching this is actually there where the solution is, and kind of trying to bring everyone into that. But it's not at this traditional model that we feel we have to emulate and talk like and look like. Because it has always been interesting to me, especially back on this story, young people in leadership, where young people will maybe try to vie into these positions, and you'll find them. Say, umesoma naye high school, ama you've met in high school one way or the other. And you hear them talking there when talking about leadership, or like the campaign trails, I guess. They are talking differently. Isi umse angeagi hivi, isi accent yake. He never uses, or she never uses, or they never use those kind of words. I've never heard them using that expression. They even have there's an accent, there's a flow to a rhythm, the way trying to talk how these traditional politicians that we've known, how they talk, and they're like, no, because then you are becoming them, and we don't want them. We don't want those people. I mean, I know, yes, we do have elections, but I mean, if you've not had yet, people are rethinking democracy, and not say to start to change democracy in the anarchy. No, I'm just saying the approach, and how you approach it, how you apply it, how you break it down, how you measure it. And I told you how to measure a democracy, like mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually. That kind of measurement, and it has its sub measurements. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's all I wanted to say. And hopefully I've also released a few things on my end that encourage me. I know I'm talking to myself in a room. I don't have a mentor. Hapa kando yangu ananiongelesha. Maybe this will help me and in the struggles that I have in that area and in other things. But yeah, I'm happy to have shared this. I'm not editing this. I'm not editing this. I'm sharing this as it is. Bro, 58 minutes. We're going to 1 hour. It's like a whole movie. Honestly, kama umekaa hapa na watch. That sounds funny. But if you've been here, sitting down, and you watched up to 1 hour, like you can like watch a whole movie. And I'm a film person, and I'm like working on a few small short scripts here and there. But yeah, I think things get better over time. Depends how much that time is in as a core. Time may be even longer than your entire life, but I don't know. Let's stay positive within ourselves, within our family, within that friend you have. Count our friends, it's fine. Who says you have to have 100 friends or you besties? No, you can have your brother, your sister, not family. It's fine. Your family, things happen. So just stay safe and positive within your group and within your people and within your mind too. and keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Move. Just move. When you're tired, yes, stay, but move. Bye. It's 1 hour. Bye. Mwah.